If you've been growing your seedlings indoors, under grow lights, in a nice warm house or apartment, this video is for you. Because there is one step most beginners skip, and it can kill weeks of work in just a few cold nights. It's called hardening off. And this year it was the most stressful part of my season. And it was also my first time doing it properly. Stay until the end, I shoot a full time lapse of the whole 2 weeks and it's worth it. So what is hardening off exactly? When your seedlings grow indoors, they live in a very controlled environment. Stable temperature, no wind, artificial light. So they are basically living in a bubble. But the outside world is completely different. Sun is more intense, temperature drop at night, and wind physically stress the stems. Hardening off is a process of introducing your plants to these conditions gradually, so the transition doesn't shock them. You can think of it like taking someone who's been indoors all winter and slowly getting them used to running outside again. And you don't start with a marathon. Now, if you grow in a greenhouse, you have a bit more flexibility. But if you are like me, growing everything indoors under grow lights with no greenhouse at all, this step is not optional. Because the gap between inside and outside world is huge. And if I rush this, I lose the plants. And I've seen other gardeners lose seedlings just from being impatient by a few days. And as you can see, this year I'm hardening off tomatoes, peppers, eggplants and cucurbits. All started from seed indoors under lights from late winter. In Paris and in France, the classic advice is to wait until after the ice Saints, les Saints de Glaces. More generally, if you are in a temperate climate, the rule of thumb is to start hardening off about 2 weeks before your last frost date. And that way you are not rushed, and you have time to react if a cold snap comes back. But even after the ice Saints date, nights were still very cold this year. So I pushed everything back, and I'm glad I did it. So here is my method, and the whole process took me almost 2 weeks, and that's pretty typical. I tried to expose the plants to a bit of everything, wind, rain and sun, rather than waiting for perfect conditions. I actually have 2 outdoor spacing facing opposite direction, a south-facing covered corridor, sheltered from the wind, so it's perfect for gentle sun exposure at start, and a north-facing balcony which stays cooler and shadier. And that setup helps a lot, because I could control how much direction they were getting just by moving them between the 2 spots. Here is what I recommend if you want to do the same. A simple day-by-day breakdown that worked for me. Feel free to screenshot this. I start with 1 hour outside in the sheltered spot, in the morning when the temperatures are already rising, and each day I had about an hour. After 5 to 7 days, they stay out for most of the day. And the rule I followed for nights is this one. If the temperature was above 8 degrees, I left them outside. But below that, especially with basil, tomatoes and peppers, I brought them back in, because they are very sensitive to cold. And by the end, when nights were consistently warm enough, I planted them out for good. And I will be honest, this part of the season makes me nervous. So yes, I checked the weather app way too many times. I was watching every forecast, waiting for the right window. But that nervousness is also what makes you pay attention. And in the end, the plants came through really well. If you started your seed indoors this year, let me know in the comments how your hardening off is going. As for me, the forecast is finally looking good. Several days ahead of sunshine. So this week, everything goes into its final pot. The season is officially starting. Subscribe if you want to follow along and see you in the next one.